Hello, it's Mike here from AVASK. I'm the head of partnerships. I'm delighted to be introducing Vincenzo Toscano here from ecommerce. How are you doing?
So good. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an amazing day here at the AVASK headquarters in Southampton. First time in Southampton.
What did you think of Southampton?
Hey, it's a nice place. I only been from the train station to the office. I can't say much, but so far it's been a great experience. So thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. So tell me, we're at the moment, obviously, just at the start of Q2, and we're just about to start heading into the real major part of the year. Obviously, we've had the end of the financial year and the UK sellers just at the end of March, starting April. So it's brand new and everything's getting
starting from scratch again.
Exactly. So tell me, what are you seeing trends wise? How's 2024 shaping up to be?
Yeah, so I see that a big trend, especially in the Amazon space, is that Amazon's getting more and more competitive. We see sellers are not being very happy with the landscape in terms of fees going up, more competition. And essentially what is happening is we see a shift from a lot of sellers into other marketplaces. And that's why here at ecommerce, we have invested a lot in our teams and operations to actually also be ready to support brands expanding to these other marketplaces. So I'm talking about, for example, Walmart. I'm talking a TikTok shop is becoming a big thing. So essentially, we're seeing this exploration from sellers to figure out how I bring my business beyond only Amazon, because I think the days of only relying on Amazon are coming to some extent to an end, because now we need to become more omni-channel and really create a brand, right? The only thing Amazon is your business. And I think 2024 is going to be the year that either you adapt, unfortunately, you're going to have a tough time.
No, thank you so much. I think omni-channel is such a great topic to talk about, because obviously, as we know, there are around 50 different marketplaces in Europe, maybe more. And that's just basically fueling the e-commerce ecosystem at the moment. The fact that you've got generally marketplaces that can do anything, really. You've got some that specialize in digital services, like, for example, if you're going to be using things like electronics and electrical equipment and things like that. You've got other marketplaces that specialize in clothing, and particularly, say, for women alone of a certain size and a certain shape.
It's becoming super niche.
It is.
And I think it's not only about the niche focus that we're seeing, as you're mentioning, but also about regions. For example, we see Allegro becoming so big in the East, right? Eastern Europe. And we have Mercado Libre becoming very big in Latin America. So I think people need to start exploring these other marketplaces and stop thinking that Amazon is the only solution for their business. Because yes, of course, you're going to have the most volume and most likely revenue on Amazon. But we need to start thinking, where do I put more eggs when it comes to really, for the future of my business? Because as we all know, if things go down in terms of maybe competition, your account gets suspended or things like that, if you don't have other sources of revenue, it's going to be tough to navigate the landscape. So that's why I welcome everybody to start making their investment. And it can be incremental, right? It doesn't need to be like, oh, you bring all your catalog to all these new marketplaces and countries, because it's an expensive thing. But you can start with your hero products and basically apply the 20-80 rule. Use the 20% of your catalog, which is most of the case what is going to bring you the 80% of the revenue, and put your focus on that.
No, absolutely. I think fantastic tip there. And one of the things that I did actually notice is you're absolutely right with regards to Amazon fees and everything, those things going up. I mean, long-term storage fees, for example, for products that are over a certain, stay in their Amazon Fulfillment Center over a certain period of time. Well, you want to make sure that anything you're storing in FBA centers, you want to make sure that they are moving quickly, so you don't attract those higher fees. And if it does look like you're slowing down, you are going to need to move them out to a different warehouse or 3PL. And then that begs the question, if you've got the stock standing by in a 3PL or a warehouse, why don't you try and sell it from another marketplace?
Exactly. So exactly, that's one of the reasons, for example, in the US, why we started also this partnership with Alibaba.com. Because we encountered the same situation with some of brands. We had thousands of units sitting on a warehouse and say, wait a minute, like, we have plenty of stock and some of these products can easily be sold in retailers and shops across the States. So I thought I really need a partnership where I can provide to my brands the opportunity to open their B2B operations. Because the beauty of B2B, if you do Alibaba.com as a merchant, is you sell in bulk 300, 500, 1,000 units at a time. So it's all about that. Start thinking outside the box, because if for example, if you don't take an approach where that stock in, for example, a three-pillar warehouse can be used for multiple purposes, multiple channels, and you only rely on Amazon, like what happens if something happens on your Amazon store? You don't have other channels to basically divert that merge. So I would say start creating a network within your brand where, Amazon only becomes a channel, and it's not your business, and start opening those doors where the more eyeballs you have in your brand, the more opportunity you are giving to your potential audience to discover and become a loyal fan, right? And that's what we're talking about before going live. Like, for example, just yesterday we became official partners with TikTok. And the reason why I'm also investing a lot into this platform is because I strongly believe that people should start focusing on creating a community, right? I think a brand goes beyond only having a logo. It's more than a logo. It's about what is the actual lifestyle you sell as a brand, right? Why you have certain community that really become loyal fans in terms of, they tell to their friends, they tell to their mom, to their sisters. So I think platforms such as TikTok, that is all about social interaction, can really bring that missing piece that we are experiencing with some Amazon and Walmart brands. And I'm very excited to see what we can achieve with that in 2024.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, you did actually take the question right out of my mouth. My next question is going to be exactly how can you utilize social media to obviously increase sales? Because obviously, as you've mentioned, TikTok is, if you're a TikTok user, you will see that, the shop element of TikTok has started exploding, especially since the beginning of the year in the UK, maybe slightly before. But what you're finding is more and more sellers are actually engaging in social commerce rather than just relying on marketplaces. You've mentioned TikTok. What are the other strategies on social media that you could use for diversifying?
Sure. So some of the things we're also doing when it comes to bringing traffic from social media, we're working very closely, for example, with YouTubers. That's a strategy that's also been very useful for us because, let's be honest, especially certain products where you like to compare a lot, right? We have a seller that he sells gaming equipment, right? Like, keyboards, mouses, monitors, and all of that. What is the first thing, especially as a gamer, that you do? You go to YouTube, what are the top 10 keywords for gaming, right? So what we do is we partner with these influencers where they review your product. Then, of course, on top of that, we give them a commission every single sale by using attribution and the brand referral bonus. And that alone provides a ton of traffic to our listings on Amazon and helps for positioning. Then other things that we do is blogging. Same thing with blogs. Like some of the things people do a lot, they like to look, what are the top 10, for example, phone cases, right? So then if you partner with the right authorities within the PR industry, then your product can start becoming basically referred across these micro bubbles, if you want to call it to some extent that. And then that also can bring you traffic. And the final factor is creating a newsletter list, right? So what we do, and of course this is all within terms of condition, we try to go beyond what is the after experience of shopping on Amazon, right? Do we give you something like a involvement into a community, into maybe a giveaway, into a warranty, into something that give you like a guide about how you can use a product to make your lifestyle better? And then from there, you can build something that you can retarget them with valuable things like maybe an extra coupon, an extra engagement. And we actually see Amazon pushing that a lot in the brand space. We see with Amazon Inspire, Amazon Post, Amazon Live, and we actually now see how for certain brands, which is invite only at the moment, if you have followers on your storefront, now you can re-engage with them with email templates that Amazon gives you. So Amazon is definitely understanding that the feature of the platform is to actually have a community and have a following. And that's why I think in the meantime, while Amazon is trying to figure that out, you should start building that outside of Amazon. So when the time comes, you have both fronts that are going to allow you to basically scale it forward. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. So what would your top tips be for a seller looking to diversify and potentially look to go omni-channel? What would they need to be looking at in order to start considering that strategy?
Yeah, so I would say one of the number one tips when it comes to basically becoming omni-channel, you have to understand, even from a branding perspective, how the product can be compatible to multiple audiences. What do I mean by that? For example, if you have a product and you launch a product for the first time that's only targeting to our premium audience, automatically you're basically removing from your list a lot of marketplaces. Walmart is already not an option because Walmart is not premium. TikTok is not an option anymore. Amazon to some extent is still an option. and then certain niche marketplaces. So what I'm trying to say, like from the very beginning, when you engineer your product, try to come up with a maybe price point, and also from a design perspective and the experience around the product that can be basically re-engineered into multiple audiences. Because if you don't do that, I mean, and that's also a strategy. I have clients that they only want to be premium, they only want to target certain audiences. But if your goal is to become omnichannel, you really want to target to certain avatar that can be basically present in multiple basically locations like marketplaces. A quick example of this, like you don't see Louis Vuitton on Amazon, Walmart, or that, because they decide that that's the only frontier, as an example. So that's a decision you have to make as a brand. Do you want to become omnichannel and be in multiple places, and therefore you have to adapt your strategy toward being more into the masses, or you want to be very niche and be something more exclusive? So that's something I feel a lot of founders don't ask themselves this question from the beginning, and then they encounter these blocks towards midway in their journey, like, oh, I didn't think about that, and now my brand is targeting an audience that actually wasn't the goal in the first place.
Fantastic. No, thank you for that. Do you work at all with Shopify?
So Shopify, no, we don't unfortunately work with Shopify. However, we have very strong partners in the space that help with that. The reason for that is at e-commerce, you really want to become the masters when it comes to marketplaces. And the goal for e-commerce is to become your singularity point when it comes to global expansion in terms of 360 support in marketplace. So that's why we have Amazon, Walmart, Alibaba, and TikTok. So it's the 4 powerhouses. And I think D2C is actually something very interesting, super powerful that a lot of brands have to consider. And just to give you a quick example, some of them are most successful clients usually are clients that come from D2C to marketplace. And if you actually try to reverse engineer why is that in the first place, is they have what we've been talking the whole episode along. They have a community, they have a brand, they have actually fans that try for the product. And that's why when we bring into these marketplaces, they actually are channels. They are not actually something they rely on to create leads and then usually explode if they have an amazing product. So if you actually reverse engineer why they're succeeding, that means you guys, Amazon brands, Walmart brands that are having a struggle, that's why you're lacking. You're lacking a community, you're lacking the pure sense of brand, and that's why you need to focus.
Okay, no, that's absolutely perfect. And you started touching on e-commerce and how they support sellers. So tell me exactly how e-commerce can work with e-commerce sellers to grow their businesses.
Yeah, so at e-commerce, basically we're a full Amazon, Walmart, now TikTok, full brand management agency. So we specialize on doing everything in-house when it comes to the advertisements of things, the SEO, the graphic design, everything when it comes to international expansion. So most of the brands that come to us are brands that are either D2C, they're retailers, they're direct manufacturer, that they're really struggling to understand the marketplace in terms of what is the game that they have to pursue. Or sometimes it's already established brands into marketplaces, but they don't really have the team or the experience. And that's where we come in and basically make sure we execute in all the right areas. Now, you're going to find out there's many providers that only focus either on PPC or only graphic design. And that's fine to some extent, but the reason why from the very beginning I wanted to create this 360 approach is I strongly believe that all these areas are interconnected. They're basically part of the same matrix, right? And if you try to optimize one side of the matrix without having inputs from the other ones, it's going to be a struggle, because you might do certain actions in your advertisement that is not connected with your SEO, it's not connected with your graphic design, it's not connected with your logistical side of things. So when you actually attack all this from the same basically perspective and all the team is interconnected, that's how we have managed to achieve great results for our clients. So that's essentially what we do. Like, you want to grow your brand globally when it comes to Amazon and Walmart, TikTok, you basically come to us and we make sure all these areas are basically implemented from the right perspective, and we design the blueprint from there to scale you forward.
That's absolutely great. Thank you very much again. No, it's I think e-commerce has a very fantastic function in the community to enable people to grow and expand their businesses, much in a similar way that AVASK does. We focus on obviously the tax, the compliance, and the importation of goods across borders. So I think there's a real synergy between the way that companies work together in the ecosystem. I would say that yes. What is your top tip for the rest of 2024? How can a brand position itself better so that it can see through the year and then kickstart off a great Q4.
Yeah. So I would say one of the top tips that is working very well for us, and that's actually why I'm been pushing so much TikTok, is try to focus on building that presence outside of marketplace. I know I'm been saying this multiple times, but honestly, the brands that we're seeing that are succeeding, every single time I go to Amazon and I reverse engineer their success, there's always a factor that comes outside of Amazon from the perspective of community. So community is key. So try to build that through things that can come from adding value, like in terms of digital assets. It can be from the perspective of giveaways. It can be from the perspective of having online activities with a community. It can be from influencers. It can be from physical events. It can go to a meetup. So many ways that you can do to start building a thriving community. And I feel if you don't really start investing into that, people nowadays don't shop anymore about, what the product is, and that's it. Like, they actually want to feel that they are part of something. They're part of a mission. They want to actually connect with the founder. And that's why when you actually see some of these successful brands, you see the founders there putting their face, and they actually admire the mission and what the founder is trying to do. So try to do the same with your brand. Try to be out there and perceive why I did this brand in the first place. And you're going to create the link that most brands out there cannot create. And that's where you actually can then start increasing prices. You can try to upsell other things, and you can actually make a proper economic system around your brand, right? And just trying to upsell them once, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'd like to thank Vincenzo for attending today and for coming on this brief Partnerette Spotlight with AVASK. If you are looking for any support with regards to expanding your Amazon business across borders or into new omni-channel presences across Europe, do get in touch with Vincenzo. I think his website is going to be coming across the screen shortly. Make sure you click and give him a visit. And of course, when you do, tell them that you've come from AVASK. Okay. Thank you very much, Vincenzo. It's been wonderful talking to you today.
Thanks for having a pleasure.
It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah. Okay. And everyone else, thank you so much for spotlighting in and joining us today. If there's anything else that you can need assistance with regards to tax compliance and trading cross borders, you can also contact AVASK. Simply visit us at www.avask.com or email us at inquiries@avaskgroup.com. Thanks very much. See you later.
Thank you.